Okay, call the meeting to order. And we have a quorum, we have a quorum.
No,
So now visitor comments. You're gonna start. I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Jesse Boehner. How are you guys all doing? We would like to thank you guys for giving us the time to sit here and speak with you guys tonight. And
So you're gonna have to project.
Oh my gosh.
if I'm yelling, I apologize. Okay.
Very good plan. Good idea.
Yep. Okay. So I'm just gonna jump in and just get this start reading. Mrs. Carnegie and the Hospital Board of Trustees, as concerned staff of Weston County Manor, we deem it necessary to reach out and share a few thoughts with those of you who may have questions regarding our leadership and long-term care at this time. Our current director, as you are aware, is Amber Ward, and our assistant director is Melissa Thomas. We, the staff, would like the opportunity to address the concerns that many of us have been approached with and open the lines of communication up between board members and those of us employed at the manor. First and foremost, we'd like to address the concerns of Amber's absences from work. While it's easy to assume that this position entails a 40-hour work week, allowing for weekends and evenings free to deal with one's personal and family matters, you'd be very wrong. Any past director can attest to this. Amber's phone is always on, and she never fails to take a call when she is needed. Whether that be while she's attempting to sit down for a family dinner or trying to rest for the next day, luxuries the rest of us get to enjoy without a second thought. She is present for our meetings, stays up to date on all that's happening, checks her email regularly, and goes above and beyond to ensure we and our residents are taken care of while she is out of the building. Considering her levels of stress that comes with this job, we feel her absences are quite appropriate and well-deserved. She plans well and is at our disposal day and night, no questions asked. Our team also feels confident that Amber would never ask of her staff anything she is not willing to do herself. You will find Amber working the floor, whether it is to fill voids and shifts, add support for aides and nurses, or just mingle with our residents because she simply cares. We appreciate her kind heart, strong ambition, and team player attitude. In addition, we think it is important to add that Amber is both respectful and considerate of her staff and their personal lives. While we all take our jobs very seriously, we take great pride in what we do. It is no secret that we also have families and personal affairs outside of work hours. While Amber is responsible with our schedules and expects us to be prompt and present, she also understands that life happens. We feel comfortable approaching Amber should we need to regard any conflicts with our personal lives. Staffing is a never-ending issue. We are aware. What we'd like to point out is that recruiting staff to work in the healthcare period is a feature in and of itself due to all mandates that are imposed upon us in this field. When and if we are successful in recruiting staff to work in this field, it is important to ensure the morale is especially good. The atmosphere in which we are currently working is both effective and conductive. Our team is most cohesive it has been in years. In turn, this provides a wonderful environment for our residents and their families. Amber is always approachable, kind, considerate, and a problem solver. We appreciate that in a leader. We appreciate the work environment she has created. Melissa has made an amazing addition to our team. Her and Amber work together wonderfully, and each one brings something very special to our team. The turnover in the DO position has been frustrating for staff, residents, and their families over the past few years. As a team, we would like the opportunity to continue growing and building a stronger, better manner for our community. We feel leaving Amber in the DO position is the first step in allowing this to happen, especially now that we have added some great support for her in the way of hiring Melissa as a DON. We are fortunate to live and work in a community that we do. We are quite proud of the work we do and the team we have built at the manor. We know that the comfortability, trust, and morale with staff greatly affects on our residents and their happiness. Without a doubt, our residents are happy, loved, and cared for in a solid, confident, fun-loving, kind environment with Amber and Melissa leading our team. We're asking Amber to please stay aboard and continue growing our team, and asking the board to truly understand what it means for us to finally have leadership we can trust. We are trusting the board to consider the constant tension that appears to exist between the manor and administrative departments. Please understand that more often than not, our feelings and opinions are falsely represented by those who do not share our work environment. We want you, the board, to see a clear and accurate picture of the manor. Our voices are silenced by those who hold office positions, not allowing the floor staff have any say in what takes place. We are the people here day and night, but no one comes to us when decisions are made. We deserve to have our voices be heard. Each of us has shown up here today to support one of our team members. We are rallying behind her because we are a good team, a good, solid team, and we want nothing more than to continue growing as a team. Thank you sincerely, Weston County Manor staff. So, thank you for letting me read that twice. Yeah, 1.5, thank you, and we appreciate it very much, so.
Thank you for coming.
No, thank you.
Mind if I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
You mentioned having a voice, you know, we'd like to have more of a voice. What would that look like for you guys?
I guess what I'm interpreting personally would be maybe if people could approach us, maybe ask us, get our input or output, you know, is what I'm gathering out of it. It'd be nice. You know, some changes happen and, you know, you can't predict what happens. Okay, bear with me, I'm not good at public speaking. I'm trying here, ladies and gentlemen.
You're doing great.
But I'm guessing it's just like, if I were to come to your home and just say, okay, we're gonna move the salt over here, we're gonna move the sugar over here, you know, I mean, just start doing adjustments. And that's not how you know, you'd want it. Like, I'm just assuming this is how you want it, instead of taking into consideration, you have a reason this works. It may not work for the outside view, but it works, you know? That's why I guess I kind of put that is, it's, anybody else want to have this?
Yeah, we kind of like to see more people come around the manor. Because nobody comes around there much, so when we have to do a decision that you guys have made, it's kind of hard for us to accept it because there was nobody from the manor that made that decision for us, so. I mean, it's just kind of hard, or I guess we just feel left out too, I think. a lot.
So what kind of decisions have been made that you feel like you've been left out?
Just different ones like oh, I don't know. It's just hard. I mean, there's just different things that have happened that, you know, the changes that have been made, but there wasn't anybody from the manor that made those changes or choices. So,
But what I'm hearing you say is, if there are circumstances where things have to be decided and you guys don't have any input, the least you would want to know is why.
right,
Perfect, summed it up. Yeah,
yeah.
be
right.
honest, like just.
Because
Even if we
sometimes
knew
you don't know
everything.
all the facts,
And
but if you know why, it's so much better to do it.
and saying that's, we get that, like, and I'm not being disrespectful, but everything happens behind closed doors. I mean, certain people get certain information, we get that, you know, it trickles down and that's just how the cookie crumbles. We completely understand it, but yeah, I guess that would make sense. Like, hey, we're gonna change this, this is why we feel this is necessary. You know,
Or
how do
even
you?
an email from somebody saying.
No,
you
I'd
know,
rather
hear
be
from
in person.
somebody.
Yeah,
Or just hear something.
right.
Yes, please.
First of all, I just want to say that for me personally, you are always welcome at these meetings, and I would be honored if you came and gave us your feedback. I am a very hands-on person, and I learn by doing and experiencing. I've been talked out of coming and working alongside of you guys for, you know, half a day or a couple hours or whatever. Would you welcome that? Because
I would love
really
it.
love to see
We
how
would
you
love
work,
it.
but I don't want to be like some people. When I do that, they think I'm threatening or, you know, trying to find something wrong, and I'm not. I'm
We
just
would
trying
all love
to
to-
understand something
Yeah,
from your
we would love that
perspective.
for you guys to see what we do over there and how we react with people and the hard work that everybody puts in over there. It's a heavy job over there and we work hard.
And we know that.
And you know, it's no different than what you guys do. I mean, you guys have stressful situations that we're not aware of, and you know, we can't just step in and be like, what are you doing today? You know, like, what's going on here? But I think sometimes people take for granted other people's positions and assume that it's easy peasy, you know, like, oh, and like I said, I'm just speaking, you know, but like, we don't know what goes on there. We don't know what goes on over here behind closed doors. You know, everybody's dealing with circumstances, whether it's work related, family, that we don't know. the details of it. It'd be nice just to have a little bit of like understanding, you know, like, I don't know if this matters any, but just for example, when COVID hit, that was a stressful time for everybody. A lot of resources weren't available, a lot of pay cuts, what happened, and it was explained to us kind of like, I appreciate like that board meeting. We're like, okay, we have to do this because we need this, we need to provide the residents with this or staffing with this or management, I like that one. So it was kind of explained, like, okay, I get it, or like materials, they can't get certain things in. They're really good about saying, hey, that's the best we can get, and it works in the middle. Communication, I get it. Where it comes. Just talk.
And just to stop by and say hi once in a while. would be great.
I'll come bug you guys anytime.
So how is your staffing? Do you feel it's
It's always short.
always short?
Well, people call in, but we have that GI going around. I mean, we have coworkers that call in, it's gonna be an ever.
I mean, nursing
thing.
is
Yeah.
short, so then someone's seeing
But
to be med aid, so they're not on the floor to work. 'Cause they're
And how many times do you get pulled over to help out on the floor?
really-
But I have to say, the big majority, we all work together very well and make it work one way or the other.
Amber and myself are always willing to come in, we just need a call. So
And they
you know that we're.
they're
really
one-
good at
they're one.
that.
Are you?
I'm Melissa, the assistant director. Not.
Hello, hey, this is Kim Lovejoy, and I would just like to add, Jesse, you did a great job. I would just like to add that I have heard in the community that we are being overworked by our boss. She never asks us to do anything we don't want to do. We all can say no, but the reason we're there is for our residents. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend because I did get the GI bug. But I would be there 100%. But again, Amber has been a great asset to this community and to our manor. And I can't stress enough the morale and the teamwork that we have with her as our lead.
That's very admirable for stepping up and supporting your leaders.
I was gonna say, Leanne, I've been here 24 years. I've never seen this.
I mean,
Not once.
I think I've seen it once.
Have I ever seen the mayor get together and only behind the boss? So,
But we've just been through a lot.
we have.
Oh, we know, yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting to me. I've been here a lot of years and it's getting to me. DON after DON after DON, I'm sorry.
And everybody has new ideas, new ways. And
Yeah, and that's like, I
You know,
want
you
to,
always, there's always changes and you just gotta go with the changes. You have to. But it's getting old.
and like for me personally, like, and this is an overshare, but one thing that I am grateful for is, and Megan, I hate to bring you up into pure in HR, is I am PR. I've always been PR, but I've always done my best to get part-time, full-time hours because I love it here. I truly love my residents. I love the people I work with. I mean, I do. And I've some personal issues arise. And I've been fortunate enough to where I was able to go to Amber and be like, look, this is what's going on in my life. I can you please work with me. And she doesn't see it as you have to be here 12-hour shifts. You have to be here these days or you're done. She works with it. She understands that, hey, my oversure, my husband, when he's on turnaround, they do 12-hour shifts for endless days until it's done. And I have a little one that, I want to be there for. So I'll be like, hey, can I come work 8 to 3:30? Can you use an extra hand? I'll do whatever. I'll scrub toilets and I'm not beneath that. She works with you. She's like, yeah, if we need you, we'll take you.
I'm from dietary, I'm not one of Amber's workers, but my mother is one of the residents. I have had no problems dealing with Amber in regards to her care. I've had no problems with Melissa. I too have been here many years, have seen a lot of DONs come and go. And I would have to say Amber and Melissa are right up there as far as dealing with my mother's care. So that is the reason. I want to add, I'm not meaning this, I was not directly involved, and so
my name. And I know it's not a negative aspect, but, I have been a DON before. I've been a unit. I've been a unit manager. I've been a travel nurse. I've worked in many different areas, and honestly, I didn't know that the manor existed, and Amber laughed at me for that because I didn't know. I was going to Gillette, you know, we just moved to this area, September. So coming from Illinois and all these different, facilities that I've worked at, first I went to the Legacy, and I'm not comparing it in any which way. It's a brand new building. I was amazed over there at the building in itself. And, I've worked in old buildings, I've worked in new buildings, and, while I've not been many years in my job, I've been many places. And coming here, when I first walked around, it's cozy, you know, it's like, it's a neat little place over there. It's its own little community. I've worked in places, as I was telling the NSAs in the meeting today, where we didn't have NSAs, they didn't feed the residents, and I saw weight loss, I saw skin breakdown. I was feeding residents, you know, CNAs are feeding residents, and sometimes people didn't get fed because you just didn't have enough help. While the staffing here is challenged, like I said, Amber and I, we do step in if where I'm a phone call away. I think I started out here shadowing on the floor, and I came out on Saturday and I said, what better way to learn people is to get in there and start getting people up. How do they move? How do they group? Because I like being out with people. I was a little hesitant to go back into management because I've been on the floor, and I really love floor nursing because I like interacting with the people. But here's a small enough community that I felt that I can get out there and go sit and do the puzzles with the little ladies and, pardon me, you know, and just kind of walk around. And I really don't like to be in my office that much. I will get done what I need to have done, but I like to be out there with the residents. I like to see them happy. And what I see here, in my long story, is happy residents. I see happy residents. And while staff haven't come to me directly and said things, you know, things do get heard, but it's not anything like I've seen or heard anywhere else. It is a happy momentum that we have here. I'm not trying to take anyone's job, you know, I'm happy where I'm at. I feel like we have built a good team. I can fill in where Amber doesn't, you know, have, and likewise. So I just wanted to just kind of add, while I wasn't aware this was going to happen, I will kind of chime in that, it is a good thing going on. The staff care about the residents. The residents, I mean, even down to dietary, they have no complaints, you know, about any of the food or the care. And I've heard more times than not on the phone when I'm calling patients' families. Thank you. We just can't say enough how much good care you guys give there to those people. And if that's what you can do at the end of the day, that's the thing that you made a difference. It is good.
That's right. Attitude. That's leadership.
Well, it's my understanding that she submitted a resignation, so how do you expect us to?
No,
We didn't know that when we planned this.
Oh, okay.
we weren't aware of that.
Okay.
So, but we still thought it'd be nice for everybody to
It
hear,
is.
just
Very
just so you're aware of it. Yeah.
Thank you very
And I
much.
can speak, you know, I just want to say that Melissa has been a great addition to our team. And with Amber leaving, we are in hopes that Melissa's going to pick up and stay with us. We do.
That as well.
And we don't want Amber leaving either, doing bad either. So we want her to know that we care about her.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your work. Thank you for what you guys do.
Thank you
We
very much.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Are there any other visitor comments? Okay, are there any additions or changes to the agenda? You have one? No.
There's one here now.
No,
There's one
oh,
down
I've
here.
got one. Here it is. Okay, sorry. So there is no additions and changes. Have you got a chance to look at the consent agenda? Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Second.
The motion has been seconded. Is there any discussion?
Was that Carrie and Jean?
There being no discussion, we will continue on to, as been approved. We're gonna go on to strategic initiatives with financials. Piper.
So for January 2023, inpatient days totaled 205 for the month. Patient mix was 14% inpatient, 55% skilled, and 31% intermediate swing bed. Year-to-date inpatient days were 66% of budget and 52% of last year's volume. Year-to-date swing bed days were 106% of budget and 93% of last year. Year-to-date ER visits were 114% of budget and 110% of last year. Again, those ER numbers are still up. The ER's been very busy. Year-to-date lab procedures are 123% of budget and 86% of last year. Year-to-date radiology exams are 106% of budget and 92% of last year. PT visits are 106% of budget and 96% of last year. Year-to-date OT visits were 83% of budget and 100% of last year. Home health visits were 102% of budget and 96% of last year. And home health, their nurse passed her NCLEX exam, so Carmen is training. Manor days are 86% of budget and 95% of last year. And clinic visits were 256% of budget and 102% of last year. On the income statement, operating income was a gain of $57,624 for the month and a loss of $2.2 million for the year. Depreciation expense for the year to date was $779,000. Net income for this month was $350,000. Year to date was a negative $961,000. On the balance sheet, accounts receivable increased from last month $212,000 and is lower than this time last year by $544,000. On the cash flow, there was an increase in cash of $192,000. The change in cash flow was mainly contributed to the AR increasing $212,000 and the AP decreasing $20,000. And then you have your graphs that show the acute and swing bed days, and the days in AR decreased from the prior month to 60.26. For retail pharmacy, during the month, there was 4,818 scripts filled, which was an increase of 250 scripts from last month. The operating revenue increased this month compared to last month's total. Retail pharmacy was at $383,000. Which was over budget, over the budgeted amount of $355,000.
And if I remember right, this is reflecting of both pharmacies all put
Yes.
together.
And then if you look at the statistics, again, it's kind of in the summary, you know, ER's been busy. Skilled swing bed days have been holding steady, was up a little bit in January from December, and we tend to see that. We still have a couple of those intermediate swing beds that we're holding until the manor opens up for admissions. Any questions about the statistics?
And you're gonna go through the page. You're gonna go through those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And so then on the income statement, again, the inpatient and outpatient revenue was up, each were up about $100,000. So for total patient revenue, we were up about $200,000 from last month. So I looked at January, but if you look at year to date, we're below $1 million from last year. Contractuals has remained about the same as last month. And then if you look at year to date, from this time last year, we're down about almost 2 million from last year. And again, that's COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, we were,
It's hard to compare.
it is, because last year, this time we had so much inpatient. We were holding so many patients because of COVID. Lab tests were up because of COVID.
It's really hard to compare.
It is. But total patient revenue, this month compared to last month, we were up 4 million or $400,000. So. If you go down, look at expenses, expenses were down about $80,000 this month compared to last month. So that was good. And then if you look at our net income, we were up $350,000 in the good this month compared to last month, which we were at a loss last month. So again, year to date, we're at a loss of $961,000.
No. I heard something wrong. So. Process is fine.
Any questions on the balance sheet?
What is our net cash up there?
Total cash? 7.1 million. We had an increase in cash this month of 190.
From that FEMA grant.
No, the FEMA grant was only 250,000.
Okay, so
Where did that COVID
stuff?
Yeah. That was that COVID reimbursement. We went back and looked at overtime and PPE and stuff that we had already used. It was a look back. But. Any other questions on the financials?
Our audit, I mean, should we come and do it soon?
We're hoping. They sent that email. They had a couple of things they were still looking at. I think there was 3 reports they were asking from Sandy and Liz still. So they sent those this week. Hopefully.
Before next board meeting.
Hopefully.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to the Karen, with your Carrie.
My mom's here.
The financial committee report, please.
So the finance committee, we focused a lot on I did have a talk with the auditors, and there are going to be a lot of reclassifications and changes in last year's financials just because money were misallocated in certain spots. So as Piper already said, they're waiting for some information from our staff, and then they'll have the final audit report out to us soon. We do have to talk about our auditing from, I think that's on the agenda somewhere else, right? The auditor?
No, that's the
audit firm quotes. Yeah, so we talked a bit about those. And then the proposal from First State Bank that Piper's gonna bring up next as well. So most of what was discussed in finance is gonna be rediscussed here, so I'll let it go on the next thing on the agenda. So.
Okay.
Oh, one big thing we did bring up that the staff is researching is there was an expense of $12,714 this month from the Wyoming Hospital Association, which was our annual dues. And I know that it didn't come before this board before, so I just asked for some clarification on exactly what we get for that $12,000 per year, and I'd just like them to bring it forward to this board next month so that we all can take a look at that and determine if that's money well spent. So, yeah, that was the big things.
Thank you. The ARPA grant, we have 3 projects scheduled.
Yeah, so we've gotten some plans back from the architects and I got some of the agreements back. And I have sent those to Allison and I know Allison was reviewing some of those grant agreements. We met on the Upton Clinic today. We're gonna send some questions back to the architect. We just got the drawings for the Newcastle Clinic and we're gonna meet on that. The oxygen project, Ron has been meeting with the architect. The biggest thing is where we can place that extra large oxygen tank outside the building. They've kind of been going back and forth in that, and the architect was gonna meet with the city engineer to see what the regulations are of where that tank has to be placed, what, you know, if there's any rules about where that needs to be placed. So we're moving forward with that, and then like I said, Allison has those grant agreements. And then the FEMA grant, that was that $250,000. We did get that check on January 20th, and that was for that COVID money or for the PPE.
Back up, the ARPA grant is, the Manor project, sounds like it's not gonna be due till October.
Well, they're not gonna be able to start till October, till October.
Is that to be finished by the end of the year or not?
It won't be finished by the end of the year.
I think now started earlier.
Well, it totally depends on contractors and when they can get equipment.
So that's kind of a tentative.
Yeah, that's kind of what they have planned out for the timeline right now.
So so.
Well, they're looking at doing.
Why are
first.
you?
I just wanted to get it done before the end of the year.
Okay, but you don't know what the deadline says.
No,
Okay,
no.
that's what I was.
No, it's just that we have an antiquated system over there and we want to get it done before,
Okay, yeah.
before it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creates a problem.
That's what I was wondering, if it's just because it's done or if there's
Yeah,
something out
yeah,
there.
well,
that
we've
we
been
don't-
wanting it done for a long time, and so it needs to get done. I wish it were priority 1. Okay, the FEMA grant was.
The $250,000 we got back from the
Right,
COVID stuff.
and we did actually get that back.
We got a check on the January 20th for the 251,000.
The financial, and number 5, the financial materials and HR payroll system, that was that update for Intact. Remember, we approved that and then found out there was some integration costs that weren't included in that, equipment and integration. So we pulled it back and said, we need to look at that a little bit more. So do you have anything new to add to that?
So Allison and I met with Ripley today, and Allison, I don't know, do you want to speak to that?
Sure, I'm happy to. Can you unshare the agenda? All I can see is the agenda otherwise. Thank you. So we had a call with the representative today and I felt like it was really positive. They're gonna hold off on moving forward with that project until we get clarification of any of the extra expenses that we may incur in moving forward. And what we can do is bring those back to the board for consideration and then analyze it from there. So the contractor is gonna hold off on incurring any further expense or kicking off the project, which will make it much easier to cancel the contract if that's what we end up needing to do.
So, and I'm working on setting up a call between Epic, our Epic contacts, and either Wifley and or Sage Intact to see what that integration cost is gonna be. We have a preliminary integration cost of a base of $3,000 from UKG and Sage Intact. I did find out that we did pay for scanners and the scanner implementations, the build part of $8,000. That has already been paid. That was signed and paid the first part of February. So.
Question about the timeline you're talking about. At the board meeting, we approved it. Now suddenly we're saying there's some issues. But yet you kind of when did we find out about these issues that you're currently looking at?
Last week.
Piper found out about him when she started on her first day of the job, and so there's some concern, Connie, with there's some concern with potential costs with integration with Epic and with what's the other program?
UKG.
UKG, and it may be substantial, so we just want to gather that information and make sure that we understand it. And then once we have it, we can bring it back to the board and make sure that it meets your approval. Because I don't think they're budgeted items.
Leanne had said something that got me confused, but or whatever, it was kind of like, I don't know, so.
Well,
That's true, Connie, because I didn't find out anything about it until Tuesday too. I didn't.
That's on Seattle, and it said that, oh, it was kind of.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
Well, this board did bring up that, are we sure that there's no extra implementation costs with Epic and that, and
when we voted on it.
yeah, we were kind of told, yeah, but then Piper found out differently, so.
And I feel like we're really fortunate. Sorry, Zoom's hard. I feel like we're really fortunate that the contractor is being really great to work with and is being flexible on the project. So if it's okay with the board, we'd like to gather all of the information, see where we stand, and then we can bring it back to you for approval or, or consideration, and you can determine whether we still want to move forward or not.
Exactly.
And we will need to talk about our contract with Meditech because that is coming due as well. And if we're gonna, see if they'll do a month-to-month agreement or how we're gonna do that, because that Meditech contract is coming up.
When you say coming up, 1 or 2 months, or?
Well, I think it's due in March.
March.
Yeah, it's a 5% increase.
Yeah.
Is that typically a year, Piper? Meditech?
I do.
Five. Oh, yeah, once a month, what I did.
Yeah, that'd be good. Did you figure out how much that's gonna be? I mean, you said it was 5%.
So the increase is gonna end up being like about $800 a month. But I mean, over the course of a year, I can't remember, it's on that spreadsheet. Yeah.
I thought it was more like $600 for the year.
No, it's per month.
Is it per month?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a substantial cost per
Okay,
year.
At least we'll have some comparison.
Yeah.
Whether we wanna go with the new system or with the old one, so.
Yeah.
I just think it's better to, get both options and see. Okay, investment placement.
So that was the First State Bank came back with the money market. So you guys had voted to transfer that money to the WildStar because of the higher interest rate. First State Bank came back and said that they would match WildStar's interest rate with their money market account here locally. But then they also talked to Liz about some CDs. So Liz.
CDs, for a 6-month CD, it's 3.25% interest rate. For a year CD, it's 4%. But I didn't go any further than that because I didn't know what you guys wanted. I just wanted to give you a little bit of option. What they provide.
I personally would like to see if we can get the best bang for our money, that we stay local and support our local people.
I think that's
That's
kind of
what
I agree, if local, and that's the best option, if local will match.
and it's protected. That's the biggest thing. So do you want a motion on that, or do you wanna?
Well, you guys need to, because you voted to move it to the WildStar.
Okay,
I make a motion that we stay with First State Bank with the proposed interest rate that they have, because I don't remember exactly what you said. On that and the CDs. 3%. No, I can't remember what you were saying, that the First State was gonna match it, and I don't
Yeah.
remember.
that's what I
Go
say.
ahead and make your motion and I'll second, and then we can discuss. Fair enough.
The First State with the matching that we were going to do with WIO, we don't go that direction, we go with First State.
Carrie, wasn't it more like 4?
So the question, the Wildstar was 3%.
It was,
We're on discussion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I believe the motion was to move, was it 4 million?
yes.
Okay, so if the motion was to move 4 million, maybe we wanna take advantage of the CD. There was two CD, the straight money market account was 3%. The two CD options were 6 month at 3.25 and a 1 year at 4%. What if we split the 4 million and put 2 in the money market and 2 in a 1 year CD?
I'll amend my motion to add that.
No, your motion was to move
Yeah.
to local banks without
Yeah, without
specifying
all
which
that,
one, so your
but-
motion is fine, so I think. But what do you wanna move the whole 4
Diversifying
million
Could
into?
be helpful. But it's the hassle of having to renew it every year. I mean.
Do you
Well,
foresee?
that's not really a hassle, the problem with the CD is the problem, oh, go ahead, sorry.
So she just gave me the first two. You can get more interest rate the longer you have.
Like 5
option
years.
for
Longer years, spread out.
Like, or, I haven't talked to her about that, so.
Do
I
you
just wanna make
foresee though we'll need any of the money for the building projects?
Right, that's why I don't wanna tie up the whole 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Was my reasoning for not tying up the whole 4.
but we still have
Um,
2 others, right? We had 6 total, right? 6 million,
Seven.
7 now, right?
6.8 or
So we're gonna invest 4 and leave 2 or 3.
In operating, yeah, and and the other thing is, if you look at the handwriting on the wall, inflation's going up, which means interest rates are gonna go up. So do you wanna tie in at a 4% when it might be 6 a year from now?
Right.
That's a good point.
I mean, costs are gonna go up, but interest rates go up too.
Sure.
So, well, back in the olden days. When the free market was still working. But that was my reasoning on suggesting the 2 and 2, but
I only went after the smaller ones than the bigger CDs as well.
So do you want to make that a motion? then?
does anyone else have any?
So your motion would be 3 million or 4? Or split the 2, or split the 4 2.
Yeah, or that we were going
Yeah.
to.
Okay, so put
So keep it,
all of it in.
Connie's motion was to keep it local.
It is.
Which I think we all agree on, and then, further building on that is to put half of it in a 1 year CD locally and the other half in a money market locally.
I'll second that because that was the motion, right?
There you go. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, so we didn't vote on Connie, we didn't vote on Connie.
Everybody nodded their head, which is not a legal agreement. You're right.
We're good.
Yeah.
Just making
Well,
sure.
we went into discussion. We
Yeah.
never voted.
We're afraid to amend an emotion, amend an emotion.
Okay. So are we legal? All in favor said aye and it's passed. So do you understand the motion now? Okay.
Got it.
No.
Got it.
Okay, let's move on to quality. Medical staff credentialing.
Got a whole stack there. I put their face sheets into the SharePoint. But we've got Mike Carpenter from the clinic, he's up for re-credentialing. Shannon Ballard, she's our new PA in the ER. She's initial credentialing. Leo Finn, he's a radiologist at Dakota Radiology. Joel Brink, also a radiologist. Brian Baxter, radiologist. Charles Voigt, radiologist. And then Dr. Emmett McElhaney, he's Black Hills Ortho. He comes and does outreach here. So all of those are up for just
Right, and they were
re-credentialing.
on our SharePoint, so. Does anybody have any questions about those?
There was nothing concerning in there.
Need a motion, right? You need a motion to approve the medical staff credentialing.
I motion to approve the medical staff credentialing.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Medical staff report.
So this last med staff, it was joint board and med staff. Joy had talked about the albuterol nebulizers being on a national back order. That's just the nebulizer, not the inhalers. So she's ordered in some inhalers to kind of counteract that back order. The nursing home report, at the time we had a census of 39. We were masking for red in the community transmission. We're still red, so we're still masking. And kind of like they had said earlier, there's a GI bug running rampant over there. So we're closed to visitors right now to kind of help get that all contained. Home health. Carmen's got a new RN. She passed her NCLEX. Both of them are happy over there.
With me now. Oh, never mind.
We discussed the E&M codes, they updated for 2023. Lisa Jackson came from Campbell County. She's in the business development. We can contact her for any access needs. So if we have anything that we need, I think maybe we could have here or something, we can contact her and she can look into it for us.
Can you explain who she is again? What her role?
She's the business development.
She's marketing and business development. So like for our sleep study issue, and we haven't been able to get any contact for sleep studies for a provider to read sleep studies for us. We've contacted her to see if maybe their provider could do sleep studies for us. We just need a provider to read sleep studies for us.
So just things like
Yeah,
that.
I
we
hadn't
can
heard
reach
of
out.
her.
Yeah, yep. OT services, we kind of discussed that, if there's any PT orders that, you know, could be upper body, that discuss with the providers that maybe it could be an OT order instead to get our OT revenue up a little bit. And then they had to do nominations for a new president. Chuck got nominated as president, much to his dismay, and it was passed. And then Sarah Bybee wasn't here, so Carrie nominated her for vice president as well. So that's how it works. How it works.
Lucky she didn't get president.
But that's all I have for med staff. Moving on to
I have a
quality.
question. You mentioned about being low on albuterol. How are our penicillins and how are we doing with the antibiotics? Because I understand it's pretty low.
I too have heard penicillin is running low. We haven't had any communication shortages here so far.
Well, and a client, I guess, was telling me that the pharmacy had to mix something special because they couldn't get it. And that was, oh, okay, that's good to know, I guess. So I was just curious.
We've been okay on the inpatient side.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yay. Thanks.
In quality, we went over our incidences, discussed a few of them. Current number of temp staff, we have 7. We have 1 in radiology, 3 CNAs in the long-term care, 1 RN and 1 LPN in the long-term care, and then 1 in the lab. We talked about our Manor resident transfers. The critical access hospital, we're seeing COVID again in the community. Patients are getting a little bit sicker than the last variant, so we've had a couple of hospitalizations. Haven't had to transfer them out though.
What kind of age group are we looking at?
50s.
Okay.
Yeah. We've got the fever and just not feeling good. Our ED wait times are still looking pretty good. Monument Health is still on divert, probably due to staffing. So we've been sending quite a few of them to Wyoming Medical Center in Campbell County if they can take them. The average arrival to discharge was 111 minutes. The arrival to transfer was 131 minutes. And then we're also tracking the arrival to the decision to transfer. That was 71 minutes, so we can see when we wanted to get them out and then when they actually got out. Joy and Pharmacy still working on the 340B. And Business Office is working on the AR yet. We did have one swing bed local that we didn't accept. It was a high complexity patient, and then the next day he required some extra surgery, so it's good. Angie said it's a good thing we didn't take him.
Do they have a time frame for the 340B? I mean, they wear it all, or is that just, it's hung up?
Completely ongoing. I mean, so we're enrolled for the hospital and then nursing home. We have to wait for the clinic for the next cost report. So, but the hospital and nursing home are enrolled, and so we're just tracking the revenue and the contracting.
We can't, well, we can't.
Well, a part of it is,
allocate that.
well, part of it is they said the clinic has to be, to re-register the clinic, the clinic has to be provider-based too, so that'll be after the construction. We can register.
So. Can I add two
Would
things?
you explain that again? Sorry.
Yeah,
Let it finish. Go ahead.
You said it couldn't be say that again.
The clinic, the Newcastle clinic needs to be provider-based to be registered for the 340B program. Was one of the things.
Why aren't we providing?
It's not provider-based because it doesn't, it's not up to,
Okay.
we have to redo the upgrades to make it provider-based. We're not provider-based yet.
It was
over there.
I thought that it was the cost report that it was incorrectly done when we bought the clinic. It was put on the wrong line in the cost report.
Well, part of it was the registration. It says that we have to be provider-based over there to, we can talk to Joy to make
And I
sure, but
remember
part of
this discussion had to do with, we had to have certain upgrades.
yes, to
in
be
order
provider-based.
qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dottie. Okay. From the quality committee perspective, which I'm on, there's one thing that I would like to ask is, I'd like to see the falls in the manor reported in action queue. Because I see everything that happens that's reported hospital-based, clinic-based, whatever, but the falls are not reported in action queue from the manor. So I just think for consistency that it would work better.
And they're a quality indicator.
Right, and it's not because I think they're not being handled correctly or anything, nothing like that. It's just that I think that to see the whole picture, I think it makes sense. I know it was discussed in the past and not really accepted well, but I think what I heard was, and of course I hate that, is that, there might be some double documentation that's required, but I think it's so, copy and paste it and put it over here shouldn't be such a big issue. That's just.
And I'm assuming that the falls have to be as part of the management evaluations that are yearly. Or whatever.
Part of what, I'm sorry?
Of our management evaluation, that's not when the state comes in. Thank
So
you.
they do come in, the incident reports that we fill out in Joint Click Care, it says right down there that it is not like a public record. But to my knowledge, in places that I've worked in dealing with state, they can ask for reports. So in my paper trail history, the more paper trails you have out there, the more they can kind of dig into. So if you're reporting it in one, and like, again, I'm coming from Illinois, and I've dealt with a lot of state surveyors there, and they have pulled those reports. And they can ask you for those reports. It's not a part of the patient's chart, but they know that you have an incident report, out there. So if they pull that, and they know that you're also reporting in the action queue, they can ask for that. So the problem where that would lie is you've got the information in one,
Not the other.
you transferred it to the other, but it's wrong, like something, so then they're gonna pick that apart. So that's the only way I could see like the double documentation. I've not worked any place that you do it in two different spots. I mean, you make your incident report and then you put in the chart, like the patient had the fall and then.
Well, let me ask you this, are falls the only thing you use on your side? Because we see everything else that happens in the manor. Med errors, complaints, resident issues, everything but falls.
Pressures and ulcers.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
unless the one that was reported in action queue, wasn't it?
No,
11, oh, but at Yellowstone it went to,
right.
that's right.
But if you track it in an action queue, wouldn't that help to prove to the state that it's part of your quality program and that you're working to properly investigate and improve?
I would think if you just
that you
put it-
have it as a focus area and
Just put
So
it
the
in.
hesitancy has been that it could open up areas being observed that weren't necessarily needed to be. Is that how I understood it?
I'm thinking so. I've not worked any place if there's been an action queue
Right,
program.
right.
And I'm a little mixed on that,
Mhm.
the action queue. To me, in some of those, they could go to the person and talk, it's warranted that they do make a documentation because they have been trying to talk to somebody and it's not going through. But, I've not had to deal with the hesitancy of it. But again, the double documentation to me is like a spot for error. We've always been told in nursing school, like, if you're making your charting, you don't put the person's name, you just put DON, ADON, charge nurse. So that way they go looking, because if you give them all the information, they may go looking further. So I don't see.
Benefit.
I don't necessarily, I'm kind of neutral on that, because the nurses will make the incident report. I go over the incident reports to make sure that they've started the neuro checks and they've done all that. But so then my question would be, is who would then be responsible for putting it into the action code? Would it be myself or like the director of nursing or?
Process thing.
The double
Yeah.
charting.
Oh, no, I do understand your point, because I'm from Connecticut. Very similar in that I don't know how surveys are here, but in Connecticut, they're very cognitive and they go out of their way. If they will stay till they find something. And I get your point about why give them more to look at. I don't know what surveys are like here. I don't know if
I don't either.
they're like they should be, which is a learning
Right.
experience, or if they're like a
Punitive.
drill sergeant thing, like they are.
Right now, they are in Sundance and they have
That's a
a
good
fed
point.
with them, a federal, surveyor. So when the federals are with the
That's a good
states,
point.
they're being under the microscope, and so if they've got someone watching their back, they're sharpening their pencil a little bit.
Well, they're also trying to prep the
Hey.
state.
So
But I get your point.
Hey, guys. Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Amber, and I've been through a million surveys, or at least it feels like I have been. It just totally depends on which surveyor you get here on
Right.
how it goes. You have some that are going to dig and be jerks no matter what, and then you have some that are just trying to make sure you're doing your job. So it just depends. It sounds like they have a federal surveyor with them in Sundance this time, so it'll be interesting for sure. They'll dig this year.
Right. So while you're talking, my head is spinning and I'm thinking, why don't you just report them to the quality committee once a month? Instead of redocumenting them, why don't you report them to us? So then we'll know about it.
We can totally do that. Kim usually just says how many falls there are. I can bring more detail if that's what you guys would like. We have a report that we print out that we could even upload into your board packet.
No, it's a committee.
The quality committee, she's
Quality
asking.
committee.
Oh, the committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can,
Yeah.
that's completely fine. I had brought it this time, but nobody asked, so I just shredded it. So,
Oh, no, there's a lot of reasons why in the quality committee we would want to know. And it just would be very helpful instead of double documenting. Then every month when you guys, whoever comes to the meeting, you just say, we had this many falls and this is what happened and this one got hurt and this one didn't. And that's all we need to know.
There used to be a report like
Yep.
that. And I don't know, with some of our changes, that went away, but.
Yeah, I didn't.
That would be perfect.
yeah, we'd be delighted to do that. So I'll bring it to the next quality meeting.
Great, thank you. And then my
Uh-huh.
second thing is that we talked about with Charlie about hiring and staffing and whatever. And we also reiterated that, he talks about exit surveys and that he offers them to everybody. And then we just said that whether they're, good or bad, we just want to see them all.
Yep.
Yep, agreed.
And that was about it, right, Char?
So, do you have anything to add? not really just that, oh.
They're kind of both in the same spot.
I just want. Remember, I mean, you gave such a great explanation in quality and did such a wonderful job. I know Nick agrees and God, it was on Zoom, but it really cleared up a lot of things for us and we really appreciate that. Thank you.
Even just with the double documentation, I'm sorry. Even when you talk about double documentation, I mean, these are things like educating us in a way that helps us understand. So.
Which
I mean,
kind of goes with what was spoken at the beginning of our meeting,
Yeah.
knowing everybody's job.
yeah, and I think that helps us, make better decisions too and understand things better. What we know, definitely me for sure. So thank you guys for both. Yeah, exactly. Communicating that in a way that is not way over my head, I guess, in a sense. So, which is hard to do. I mean, it's easy to do, I guess, to go over my head, but I'm not a principal. Gosh, no. No.
No, it's a learning curve for me too,
Yeah.
because, nobody throw papers at me. I'm from Illinois. And there they do things a lot different. We don't have med aids, we don't have the NSAs. And so it's a learning curve for me too. I'm, still trying to figure out, okay, the roles of what they can do, they can't do. So they've all been a big help to kind of keep me on board. And so I can't really speak to the truths on some of those positions, but on other things that I have experience on, I can try to offer up what I've seen. I'm not saying that that's the case here or, what might go on here, but, it's a possibility. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything more? That's quality committee report. You want to do anything more with that? I will move on to old business. Did you get my CEO job descriptions printed for me?
I did. They're sitting right there. I'll go get them for you.
The governance committee did work on these, the CEO job description. And so we sent it to legal already. You don't mind if I call you legal, do you?
You can call me legal. It's better than outhouse counsel.
So anyway, we kind of put this together in what we thought our expectations were. I know when we started to do the CEO evaluation here a while back, and most of the people were fairly busy. They're like, we work with it, we don't know. So we thought, well, we'll just get this pulled up and everybody will be on the same page now. So she'll pass these around. I just want to give you an idea of what we worked on. I think it's pretty good. But once legal gets done, we'll see what she adds to it. And then we'll ship it on over to Thomas so that we can work on our recruitment.
So we're not ready to vote on this.
No.
Okay, thank you.
I would just say, I think that there's nothing that strikes me as illegal about the job description. I think it would be helpful to get feedback from HR on how we could make this, in a form that is, I guess you would say, marketable.
Okay.
I think that the job description itself is very comprehensive. My one concern is it may be a little overwhelming to somebody who wants to apply, that it's maybe overly comprehensive. It's aspirational, which is very good because you give an idea of what it is you want. But just maybe with an eye of the marketability of it, I think would also be helpful.
Like superior communicator.
Allison, did you guys, did is this on par with Monument's own description up there on
They didn't have
CEO?
one.
They didn't
No.
have one.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most comprehensive CEO job description I have ever seen. Which is not, which is not a bad thing. I just think maybe it would be helpful to take a look at it through the eye of the applicant so that you don't discourage somebody who might be a great culture fit for your hospital from coming in and growing with you.
Okay, we'll give Charlie a copy and have him look at it. How's that
That's what
sound?
it says, if it's
Great.
like so much detail, in it,
Yeah.
it says, we don't know what the hell we're doing.
When I was typing it, I thought, gee, I wish this was shorter.
So there might be a way to say what you want. maybe
Yeah.
this and that.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think that probably there's parts of it that will be helpful for setting goals and, you know, useful stuff you may not want in the job description, but you may want to integrate for other purposes.
Yeah, I think that was kind of our intent originally, is because we wanted something to evaluate with.
Yep, absolutely.
Our new board members, they really didn't know what to expect, is that a job? Is that what part of her job or?
Right. Well,
we
I think
would
it'll be a
think-
very useful document for you in a lot of ways. I would pare it down and make it a little more like selling the position for trying to recruit the right person.
Okay. Sounds reasonable, thank you.
Is it,
Yeah.
it's expectation to have this prior to hiring or?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
It's good to.
I don't, I'm
And-
not.
And my suggestion, sorry, guys.
Go ahead.
My suggestion was that the governance committee work on getting this ready for prime time and create the process with Monument on the recruitment. You know, technically, I don't think you need to have the board approve this. I just think that the board ultimately will approve the hire and will want to be involved in the interviews. So.
Right. Okay, well, thank you. New business, CEO recruitment.
So, Allison and I had talked and, we had asked Thomas just for, Monuments process, like a written process of how they do the CEO recruitment. And he said they don't have that ready yet, but he will get that, as soon as they have it ready. And they are, refining that agreement, and he will send that to Allison as soon as they have it.
Anything to add, Allison?
No, I think it'll be helpful for them to have the job description so they can see what this board is looking for. You know, when we initially started this, we had debated, is it a CFO talent? Is it a leadership talent? And so I think this will help give them some direction on what we're looking for. And I do expect that as a part of this, we'll get a rewrite of their management agreement with you. And I think that that also will be helpful, but probably will take a little time to work through.
Okay, anything else on CEO recruitment? Okay, let's go to long-term care director position.
So you guys know that Amber did turn in her resignation, and then so with the change in bylaws, you guys are in charge of the admin team hiring. And so we posted that position, and how long do you want to have us leave it open? We've had one applicant, Melissa has applied for the position.
Okay.
Admin team did interview her. So how do you want to proceed with that?
How long's it been open?
Well, just
2 weeks?
since not quite 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks on Tuesday, I think.
So what is customary? How long you usually leave it open?
It's on the position.
Yeah.
And how quickly you want it filled?
Well, we probably ought to.
Well, she's staying what, how many days?
60 days.
Amber?
60 days.
Sure, we can't change your mind? Your staff would sure like you to change your mind, but
May I clarify?
We are not in charge of hiring.
Okay.
The CEO is in charge of
Mhm.
hiring. We ask to approve your choice.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You are still in charge.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a semantic thing, but
Okay.
it's an
Yeah.
important difference.
Okay.
So.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think that's the way it's worded.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to usurp anything. It's
Okay.
just that we want to be.
Okay.
It's your team.
Have there been any other applicants? No.
I personally think that at least we're going 2 weeks.
2 more.
I don't know what.
Well, you know,
What did you say was customary? Or did you answer?
I did.
It depends on the position. Depends on.
2 weeks.
I think it also depends on if you're trying to promote within house.
Yeah, I mean, if
Right,
you're, if
yeah.
you have good quality candidates in-house, then, yeah, you can go shorter for sure. If you're not getting good candidates, you
Yeah.
definitely want to keep it open. We don't hire because people are breathing and blinking, make sure we got the right
Sure.
candidates.
How long has it been?
It'll be 2 weeks on Tuesday. Yeah. You'd have to ask Charlie.
Are you suggesting that your admin team was confident in the
No, it might
interview
not
and
run
so
till next
forth?
week.
or
There's
you-
only one.
And you've heard from the team that I think we have a very qualified applicant.
So you're proposing that we accept that you guys have made the right choice.
She's gonna turn red back there. She said.
We appreciate the chance to meet the candidate.
Yeah.
I was asking last time, I'm like, been to a board meeting, am I allowed to go?
Yeah.
You picked a good night, Mom.
Sorry. Yeah.
What? I think it's just that. Okay, well, keep us posted.
Okay.
Okay, the audit firm and cost report quotes. Everybody got a chance to look those over. This doesn't need to be decided on tonight. I mean, you probably all read the bios that they had on each one of them. Looks like Casey Peterson is about 64 grand a year. I Bailey is 56. And Dingus, this is someone we've introduced before, but it's in the packet. It was, they kind of specialize in critical access hospital. And the Wyoming Hospital Association did, give us, their name. Dingus.
That's fine, no, but.
Dingus, the Zarkor and Associates.
I just have a horse that regularly.
That's how we want it.
I don't know either. What is that going? Moving on. Not.
The important thing about this is you do need to have an independent auditor, so the auditor can't work for us. But you can choose that, it's kind of like an à la carte menu. So you can choose one firm to do your audit and one firm to do your cost report. You know, it doesn't all have to be the same firm, just an aside when you're evaluating. I know you all are taking notes.
The one thing I found about Bailey is that, they did mention 340B in their bio, so I kind of like that. And they also have a critical access model spreadsheet. I kind of like that because it gave the finance a way of tracking the critical access, so we don't have to take back money. I thought that was kind of cool. I was kind of questioning about the Bailey as far as there's nothing here that says rural healthcare clinic.
We have
here.
actually had Bailey in the past.
Yeah, 2013.
Yeah, and then we went to Casey Peterson and
Been there
I
ever
guess,
since.
yeah, I've been there ever since. And I think the part I kind of like about that is they know our history and they know our people, which is nice. Yeah, and it, makes it easier to
What
work.
can
with,
be good or
usually.
nice. I mean,
Yeah,
I
that's
like a separate set of eyes on things once in a while.
Mhm.
It's like having too many persons serving with the same hat.
Do you have
type of
any
thing.
thoughts you'd love to throw in?
But, I don't know. I I'd like to outsource our audit, so then I can use Casey Peterson for the
Outsource, what do you mean?
like go to a different,
Oh, firm?
Firm.
Okay, gotcha.
and then keep the cost model with Casey Peterson. But that's just.
Well, I think it counts a lot when you're the one that's in the middle of it, you know? You know,
Yeah.
Well, I have certain opinion about that too, but I won't get into it here.
what's that?
This one's cheaper, this one's cheaper than any of them.
Which one?
Dingus.
The bad one.
Yeah. Anyway, like I said, it doesn't, currently we're spending 72 grand a year with Casey Peterson.
Right.
And this dingus is gonna charge us 51. Right. So I mean, that's considerable difference to me. So, I mean, just look at it. Go through the bios. I think what I'd like to recommend is the governance, look it over. There are some people that have used, both companies have used people in Wyoming, or hospitals in Wyoming. I took down their phone numbers and their email addresses. We thought that governance could give them a call and see what they thought. You know, me, I'm like, does it have a 4-star or 1-star? So we thought we'd get some feedback from them. And then and also asking about 340B and critical access hospitals and kind of get a better feel than what their marketing skip is.
And for what it's worth, Bailey wasn't bad. Casey Peterson came in cheaper at the time.
Yeah, right. I'm sure.
Madam Chairman,
It's been.
isn't this more of a finance committee issue than a governance board issue?
Well, the finance committee, I think the governance issue, don't they, I thought they were responsible for audit. That was my understanding under the governance. You may look at that. You can look at that. But you're certainly welcome to think we'd probably give it up, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I think audit would fit under finance, wouldn't it?
I think, yeah.
I just have an opinion.
Yeah.
I would like to see a new base, look at the finances. You know, I know this person's been here for 13 years and probably doing fine, but in lieu of the circumstances, I'd like a new view.
Well, and it makes sense with what you were saying, having one part kept with something new on the other side.
But you're welcome to have it.
Yes, you're welcome to have it. So I would recommend that finance.
Please.
Okay, quiet, second.
Amen.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Can I have a motion? You do.
Motion to.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Jamie. No.
Do we need a motion?
Yeah, we do.
It falls under finance again.
Yeah.
All right, that's
Go ahead.
fine. And I make a motion, we refer this financial matter to finance.
I second it.
Is this motion, any conversation, any discussion? Okay, there being none.
So you guys will come back.
All in
to us
favor?
with-
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you got it. Thank you. You want my, the list of names are on their bio. So. And they have a couple of Wyoming
And loves
names.
Okay,
Okay.
if they have that list open to me.
Other reports, the governance committee did look at the job description and we're gonna send it to Charlie. We did some policy review, employment status, PRN. We wanted to change PRN up to, instead of 6 weeks before administrative leave, we wanted to increase that to 3 months. Mainly because staffing is hard to find and, you know, if somebody has a leave of absence or something that they need to, for personal reasons, we don't get rid of our good people, so. And then it's set up, I think this is the wording. Did you get the wording?
And
Okay,
I did a draft today and we talked in our admin team as well about making it a formal, like having a form that the employee would actually submit saying, you know, this is the reason why I
Sure.
need longer than whatever the requirement is. And then we'll keep that on file. And then if somebody has questions, we can always go back and put, well, yeah,
Perfect.
they're on it for this. So I have given it to the admin team. They're reviewing
okay,
the draft.
right.
And then all the stuff that we talked about is
Right.
in there as well.
That's perfect, because
Perfect,
that,
thank you.
that increases the communication piece.
Mhm.
It's a great idea.
Okay, and we already did the alcohol and drug policy, we kind of played around with that and made our recommendations, and I think that went through as well. So how is that gonna be communicated back to the staff?
Is it?
Do you just let them know that we made some revisions or something? and-
Yeah, usually just an email would go out. Normally I think we would send it out that there was
Okay,
an update, so. But
So
I-
it's finalized, it's all finalized.
once it's finalized, yeah, that one is finalized, we haven't done the employment status yet. It'll come back in my box,
Yes.
I'll approve it, and it'll.
So
back on.
just thinking about, thinking about the whole communication piece that they were talking about, do the staff read their emails?
That is a challenge.
Some do, some don't, but we have a weekly manager huddle. And then we highlight some of those things, like the drug and alcohol policy is finalized. And so then the expectation is the managers take that to their department huddles or post it on their communication boards or whatever. So hopefully they're doing those weekly huddles with their staff. I know most departments do weekly huddles.
I think sometimes for staff, it's how they feel relevant.
Yeah.
Relevant, sure.
Yeah.
But I have to read 50 emails.
Right, and so like I said, some of those big items like the drug and alcohol policy, you know,
It's pretty big.
yeah, hopefully those managers are taking it back to their weekly huddles.
Because, so at least if, that's why I asked the question,
Yeah.
because I'm afraid I wouldn't look at my email.
Yeah, well, and yes,
When you're busy
No.
working.
yeah,
I'll tell you who reads them, the people that wanna know the
Right.
Yeah,
info.
yeah.
Or after they get caught.
Right.
Well, hopefully before that.
or, you know, and they talk, I mean, you know, they have a monthly staff meeting, and so hopefully it gets brought up there again, hopefully they've heard it, you know, 10 times by the time it comes to their monthly staff meeting. Yeah, we know you've updated the drug and alcohol, policy. You know, you get the eye roll.
Yeah,
That's where you wanna get.
Yeah.
okay, the foundation board.
Okay, we met, we talked about, the $1,500 scholarship was done. We got a thank you letter from the University of Wyoming thanking us for the contribution for their pharmacy, but they were asking for more and we kind of said. Baumgart's gave us $679 about 2 years ago. We're gonna use that on informational materials for the mammograms for the health fair. The committee has 8 members. We'd like it to be between 5 and 9, but we have one person we're looking to add, and if they're not, someone else has somebody to ask. So, because the foundation committee, we need a little bit more robust to it, I think. The golf tournament is off and running with its different pieces of it, you know, the prizes, the tournament itself, the meals, the this, the that. So that's on board. I believe that's in June.
June 10th.
Right?
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah,
Hope it's not snowing.
is it
June
June-
10th.
June
Yeah,
10th?
seriously.
Saturday.
You're right. That's a fact. Thank you. And the health fair is in April 1st, I believe.
Right, correct.
So, and then, Maureen just shared with us that they finalized the brochure that they put in the doctor's offices and the funeral parlors and that kind of thing, and that looks real nice. And then lastly, Leanne asked about possibly making a honorary member of Dr. Franz, excuse me. I don't,
You just keep walking us the hall.
I know it.
because of his long-term support and his generosity, so that was food for thought.
Yeah.
So, and then one last thing is that Marcia, who had come to the foundation meeting prior to offer this little 8-hour symposium for us to research what it is that our strengths and our weaknesses and that kind of thing. She turned us on to a free webinar that was online that actually Ann and I attended. It was from the leader of the nonprofit leadership lab, and it was really about creating a high functioning board that makes money. So the problem with it was here's a little bit of candy, but we want $400 and some a month for you to join. So we got some.
You got some candy.
We got some candy.
$400 a year.
Huh?
$400 a year to join. Not a month.
Oh, yeah, year. But it was expensive, whatever, and.
What's your parents?
That's a number one
So,
about how to bring in
Well, the
money.
problem with it
Yeah.
it can only be individual, it can't be a group, so that means everybody on the foundation board would have to join.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but it was interesting and we learned a few things, but that's about it.
Okay, ethics committee?
We will should be meeting March eighth, second Wednesday at 4 o'clock. So we have not, that'll be our new quarterly meeting.
Okay, I think we've already talked about, the management thing that's gonna be updated, so that was the only thing I was gonna mention. Is there any other board comments? Okay. I was, the future is the health fair and the golf tournament. And, I believe we do have an executive session.
Make a motion, we move into executive session for personnel.
Second.
It's been, did you get that?
I did.
So, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We need to take